There is a moment, and maybe you know exactly what I am talking about, where you walk into a room and something shifts inside you. Before a single word is spoken, before anyone makes eye contact, you already know. You know that the energy is off. You know that two people in the corner had an argument before you arrived. You know that the person smiling the widest is the one caring the most. And everyone else around you seems completely oblivious. They are pouring drinks and laughing at nothing, and you are standing there quietly processing an entire emotional landscape that most people cannot even see. If that resonates with you, stay with me. Because what I am about to share with you might completely change the way you understand yourself. Today we are talking about traumatic intelligence. Not trauma as a wound, not trauma as a diagnosis, not trauma as something broken inside you that needs to be fixed. We are talking about trauma as a teacher, as an architect, as the invisible force that quietly rewired your brain into one of the most sophisticated emotional and cognitive systems a human being can develop. And once you understand what that actually means, I think you will start to see yourself very, very differently. Let us start at the beginning. When a child grows up in an environment that is unpredictable, whether that means emotional instability, tension in the household, walking on eggshells around a parent, navigating chaos that adults were supposed to manage but did not, the brain does something remarkable. It does not break. It adapts. It begins building neural pathways designed specifically for one purpose: survival. And survival in a high-stakes environment does not just require physical strength. It requires perception. It requires reading people. It requires anticipating what is coming before it arrives. And over time, those adaptations do not just become habits. They become who you are. So let us walk through the signs, one by one, because I want you to genuinely recognize yourself in this. The first sign is what we can call heightened environmental scanning. This is the ability to read a room before anyone speaks, and I already gave you the example, but let us go deeper. This is not intuition in some vague, mystical sense. This is advanced pattern recognition. Your brain, during those formative years, was running a continuous scan of your environment. Tone of voice, body language, micro-expressions, the way a door was closed, the silence between words. You were processing all of it, constantly, because your nervous system learned that missing a cue could mean emotional danger. Over thousands of repetitions, that process became automatic. Today, you do not even have to try. You just notice things that others completely miss. What people call a gift, you might have dismissed as anxiety. But the ability to read a room that accurately is not anxiety. It is a highly trained perceptual skill, which leads directly into the second sign, and that is hyper-empathy. Now, most people think empathy just means being kind or caring about others, but what you experience is something much more immersive than that. You do not just understand how someone is feeling. You feel it with them. Sometimes you feel it before they even fully feel it themselves. You can sense a shift in someone's energy mid-conversation, a subtle withdrawal, a quiet tension behind their laugh, something changing beneath the surface. And again, this is not magic. This is the result of a nervous system that spent years finely tuned to the emotional states of the people around you, because those emotional states directly affected your safety. The empathy you carry is not a personality quirk. It is neurological precision. Now here is one that often surprises people. The third sign is what we might call strategic calm under pressure. You might have noticed that when a real crisis happens, something almost unexpected occurs inside you. Everyone else starts to panic, voices get louder, decisions get messy, and you, somehow, get quiet. You get focused. You start problem solving with a clarity that almost does not make sense given the circumstances. And the reason for this is something researchers sometimes call stress inoculation. When high-stakes situations were your baseline as a child, your nervous system essentially built a tolerance for chaos. It learned how to organize itself under pressure because disorganization was not an option. Other people's nervous systems are encountering intensity for the first time in a crisis. Yours has been there before. And it knows exactly what to do. The fourth sign is compulsive behavioral analysis. You think about people. You study them. Not in a cold or calculating way, but in a deeply curious, almost compulsive way. You replay conversations. You notice inconsistencies between what someone said and how they said it. You can often predict how a person will react to something before they even know themselves. You understand motivations, patterns, defense mechanisms, almost intuitively. And what you are doing, without even realizing it, is running the same analytical process your brain developed to navigate complex interpersonal dynamics early in life. You learned to understand people because understanding people kept you safe. And now that same process makes you extraordinarily perceptive, extraordinarily adaptable, and in many environments, the most emotionally intelligent person in the room. The fifth sign is fierce self-reliance. You solve problems quietly. You build things on your own. You often do not ask for help, not because you are stubborn, but because somewhere along the way you learned that external support was not always a guarantee. You learn to be your own resource. And while that independence is something to recognize and in many ways honor, it is also worth acknowledging where it came from. The resourcefulness you carry is real and it is powerful. It has gotten you through things that might have completely unraveled other people. But part of growing into your traumatic intelligence is also learning when to let someone in. Because the walls you built to protect yourself were built by a child who needed them. And you, today, have more options than that child ever did. The sixth sign is what I want to call high emotional frequency. You feel things deeply. Music does not just sound good to you, it moves through you. Art does not just look beautiful, it means something. You can be genuinely shaken by an injustice you read about involving complete strangers. You cry at things others find unremarkable. You carry beauty and grief with an intensity that sometimes feels almost too much to hold. This is connected to a sensitized amygdala, the part of the brain that processes emotional experience. Years of heightened emotional input left your system finely calibrated to feeling. And while that sensitivity can be overwhelming, it is also the source of some of your greatest depths. The capacity to feel things at that frequency is not a flaw. It is how you connect to the world in a way that most people simply cannot access. And the seventh sign, perhaps the most misunderstood of all, is adaptive skepticism. You do not trust easily. You watch people. You wait. You observe before you open up, and sometimes that process takes a long time. People who do not understand you might read this as coldness, or aloofness, or even arrogance. But what is actually happening is that your brain is running an incredibly sophisticated screening process. Because you understand, at a cellular level, what it costs to misplace your trust. You have a high threshold for genuine connection, and because of that, when you do let someone in, the loyalty and depth you bring to that relationship is unlike anything they have likely ever experienced. You do not love halfway. You do not commit halfway. And the people who earn your trust know that what they have been given is something rare. So let us bring this all together. Because what I want you to hear, really hear, is this. Everything that has ever been called a flaw in you, the overthinking, the hypersensitivity, the guardedness, the intensity, the way you notice too much and feel too much and analyze too much, none of that is a malfunction. It is adaptation. It is your mind, working tirelessly and brilliantly, doing exactly what it was built to do. You were shaped by environments that demanded more from you than a child should ever have to give. And instead of breaking, your brain rose to meet that demand. It built something extraordinary. Traumatic intelligence is not a consolation prize for a difficult childhood. It is evidence of an incredibly resilient, incredibly capable mind. And the path forward is not about dismantling what you have built. It is about understanding it, honoring it, and learning how to carry it in a way that serves you, rather than exhausts you. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are not overthinking. You are operating on a frequency that most people have never had to develop. And that, quietly, is one of the most powerful things about you.
Thanks for watching The Quiet Observer. If you'd like to go deeper, I've linked some helpful self-help books in the description below. I'll see you in the next video.